guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about how I studied for the GRE. I mentioned this in a vlog, but I'm going to be starting a grad school series here on my channel. I should be applying to grad schools in November. Different programs open up their applications at different times, but within the next couple of months I will be applying to grad school, and I will be doing the interview process and all of that good stuff. So I thought I would give you guys all of the tips and stuff that I have. So this is the first video in that grad school series, so I hope you guys enjoy. Before we get into it, yes, I am wearing a pajama top. It says good night. That's how I feel right now. I'm very tired. I haven't had coffee. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave and hit that post notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload. So let's just get right on into the video. Okay, so first things first, if you guys have no idea what the GRE is, the GRE is the exam that you have to take to get into graduate schools. Depending, like law school, you need to take the LSAT. I think for business school, you need to take the GMAT. So it's basically just a standardized test that you need to take to get into graduate school. Different programs are going to have different requirements. Most master's and PhD programs require you to get in within the 50th percentile to qualify for their program. So that's something you have to look up on the school's website that you're interested in. So first thing, I want to show you guys the book that I am using. So this is just the book that I'm using to study for the GRE. This is just the Kaplan GRE Prep Plus 2019. Now if you go on Amazon, they do have previous versions like 2015, 2016. They're a little bit cheaper than the 2019 version. It's pretty much the same thing. The questions are obviously going to be different, but I recommend getting two books. So basically what I did is I have a 2015 version, and then I just got this 2019 version, and they're both Kaplan. Some people would get one Kaplan book and like one from another brand, but it's more practice for you. So what I did was with the 2015 version, I went through all of that. I did all of the questions, the practice exams, and things like that. So I'm going to be doing the same thing with this Kaplan book. They recommend that you give yourself 3 months to study for the GRE so that you're actually prepared. I will be taking the GRE sometime in October. That's my plan. So just kind of space it out, kind of think about when you know your application's open for graduate school. You want to give yourself enough time so that if you need to retake the GRE, you have time and you're able to send it into those schools so that you meet the application deadline. So the first thing that I want to talk about is in the back of this book, I'll show you guys. It has common level words that are used on the GRE, and then it just gives you different words and their definitions and a example. So what I did for these is I just made flashcards. Now I've said this before in a video, but I am a visual learner. So what I did, and it kind of recommended me to do this in this book as well, is I went through and any definition that had a negative connotation, I did the definition on my flashcards in red. If it had a neutral connotation, I did it in blue. If it had a positive connotation, I did it in green. So that way, when I'm studying, if I see it on the GRE, I may not 100% remember the definition, but I may remember, okay, this was in red in my flashcard, so it has a negative connotation. So you kind of have an idea of, you know, the different types of words that, you know, what it, you gotta get an idea of what it means, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is literally just A through D. I have E through H over there. As you guys can tell, it's a lot of note cards. It's a lot of words. So see, like this one is red. This one is blue. So yeah, that's just how I did it. It also recommended you do that in this book as well. But it also depends on if you're a visual learner or not. Like I said, I'm a visual learner, so colors kind of do something for me. But if you're a different type of learner, then you may want to figure out a different method. It is important to figure out what kind of learner you are, not just for the GRE and in terms of studying, but for just school as well. We're not going to get into the different types of learning in this video because we would be here forever. But yeah, you can always Google and see what type of learner you are. Like there's kinesthetic learners and visual learners and different things like that. So figure out what kind of learner you are, and that'll help. So the GRE has 3 sections. It is a verbal reasoning section, a quantitative section, and a writing section. So when you do the GRE, the verbal reasoning and the quantitative section is going to be on the computer, and you get those raw scores right away as soon as you finish the exam, and then the writing score takes about 2 weeks to come in. So creating a study plan and trying to figure out different ways that you're going to study. Think about the section that you are most unprepared for. So for me, the verbal reasoning and the writing section, I'm not really worried about. The one section that I'm worried about is the math section, and that's just because I'm not good at math. I've never been good at math. I've said this a million times on my channel. So the quantitative is the section that I'm going to spend the most time on. Yes, I'm still going to go through the writing section and the verbal reasoning section and study just as hard, but I'm going to spend more time on the section that I know I'm going to struggle with the most. So no matter what section you struggle with, you're still going to go through it and still give it as much attention, but the section that you know you're going to struggle with, you want to give it a little bit more extra attention, if that makes sense. So basically what I did for my book is, I hope you guys can see, but these pink tabs right here, they just basically mark the beginning of a new section. So there's the verbal reasoning section, the quantitative section, and then the writing section. This flashcard that's in here is just marking exactly the spot that I am in. So, and then these little white tabs right here I have, so they have basically like mini tests within each chapter. So this is chapter 4 in verbal reasoning, and it's just a little quiz. So basically what I did was I took the quiz, and then they have the answers right after the quiz. So I took the quiz like I normally would, and then I went back and I marked the answers that I got correct, and then I marked how many I got right out of however many questions there are. If I got 50% or lower on that quiz, I just marked it with this little white tab, and that just lets me know that that is a quiz that I need to go back and retake until I get a higher score on it. So that's what all these little white tabs are just quizzes that I'm going to need to go back and retake to get a higher score on it. So it's just me putting the material into my head, and that's just what I'm going to do for all of the quizzes that I have in here. So the first time around I did mark on these, but the second time around I'm going to go back and I'm going to use a notebook and just write in the notebook, so that way it's not confusing with just all the markings and different things in there that's like going on. So one tip that I have is to not overload yourself with the studying. I map out how many chapters I'm going to do, and for those vocab words that I showed you, I may say, okay, I'm going to do A through D, and I'm going to do chapters 7 and 8. You don't want to do too much at once because you're not going to retain the material. Yet it's a standardized test, but it's almost just like if you were going to study for a test that you would have in a normal class. When you study too long and too hard and too much material, you stop retaining the information. So keep that in mind. You don't want to study for too long. You do want to give yourself breaks. This is a rigorous exam. It is not meant for someone to get 100% on. So don't go in there thinking you're going to get 100% because you are not. Also, you are not penalized for wrong answers, so you're only graded on the correct answer, so keep that in mind as well. Like I said, they recommend that you start studying 3 months in advance to when you're going to take the GRE. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I said, I had the 2015 Kaplan version. I was studying from that, but I wasn't really studying. I was kind of skimming through it, and I was taking the exams and stuff. But now with this version that I have, I'm actually studying, like I'm sitting down and I'm doing the note cards and just doing the quizzes and marking the right answers. With the 2015 version, I was doing the quizzes, but I was like, okay, I got these answers wrong. Like I wasn't doing it how I'm doing it now. So I was studying, but I wasn't really studying. So now this time around, because I am getting closer to the exam date, I'm studying. So like I said, if you are a visual learner like I am, I have different colored pens, different highlighters, different things like that. I said it in another video. Make sure you don't want to use too many colors, because then it kind of defeats the purpose of the colors. You want as minimal amount of colors as you can, so you'll be able to see something, and if you see it on the GRE, you can be like, I remember this was in red, so I have an idea. This is going to be a word with a negative definition to it, so that can kind of help you pick whatever the right answer is. The Kaplan book also has literal practice exams where you go through the entire thing. You go through all 3 sections. It is time, so it's just like it will be on exam day. I'm not 100% sure how many they give you. I think they give you 2 to 3 practice exams. So what I would recommend and what I did was, the first time around, before I started studying from this book, like hardcore studying, I took a practice exam all the way through, like I said, all 3 sections, timed and everything, to see where I was. And then that kind of gave me an idea of what I really needed to really practice on. Like I said, you're going to study all 3 sections like, you know, it's nobody's business. But the practice exam kind of gave me an idea of where I am and what I really need to focus on. Once I finish the book, I'm going to go back and I'm going to take the exam a second time and to see where I'm at, see if I improved, see if I need to really focus on anything different or the same thing, do more practice problems and things like that. So I'm going to go through the entire book. Now, I'm not skipping a page, I'm not skipping a quiz, I'm just going to go through the entire book, take another practice exam, see where I'm at, go through this book a second time. Once I go through the book a second time, it's probably going to be around the time that I should be getting ready to go take the GRE. So hopefully by that time I'll be exactly where I need to be, and then I'll take another practice exam the 3rd time to see where I'm at and try to do any last minute studying, catching up. Maybe there's some concepts that I need to go over and try to reformulate and try to make it stick better, maybe come up with a new mnemonic or something like that. So that's just how I plan on doing that. But like I said, this book has a lot of practice quizzes. You get practice exams. The one thing that I like about Kaplan is it gives you like a little code, so you can go online and you can get a lot more supplemental material than just the book. So like I said, you get the practice exams. They have more practice quizzes. So I got this book off Amazon for, I think, like $15.99, $16.99, and if I can find it, I will link it down in the description box if you guys are interested. Like I said, I have 2 Kaplan books. Some people will do 2 Kaplan books. Some people will get one from another brand. If I can think, I can't really think of another brand off the top of my head. Like, I can see the book, but I can't think of the name of the company. But I will link that in the description box as well if you guys are interested in getting another book other than Kaplan. This video is not sponsored by Kaplan. I wish they were. But yeah, those are just the books that I've used just because my mom has taken the GRE and the LSAT, and she's used Kaplan. So that's just the book that, you know, she got for me. So that's just the book that I'm using. So yeah, all in all, the way that I'm studying for the GRE, I guess, is pretty simple, I guess you can say. I'm not really doing too much. Like I said, you don't want to overload yourself. You want to be able to retain the material. Again, the GRE is not meant for you to get 100% on. You are just going to be awarded points for the questions that you get correct, so you're not penalized for wrong answers. So try to always answer all of the questions. Take a wild guess, because if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really count towards your score. So yeah, I just highly recommend getting yourself a study prep book. My school also offers study prep classes. One of my psychology professors taught it. Of course, he's taking the GRE because he has a PhD. So it was really good getting insight from someone who's already taken the GRE. It can let you know, like, this is what worked for them, this is what didn't work for them, and like the breakdown of the questions and everything. And the Kaplan book also does a really good job of telling you how long this certain section is going to be, how many questions is typically on the GRE in this section from this type of question. And so the book is really good with giving you that type of breakdown. So that's why I definitely recommend getting yourself a prep book. Please study. Do not go in there thinking that you are just going to do an amazing job and you haven't studied anything. I highly doubt that's going to work. So please study. So yeah, you guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, please leave them down in the comments below and I will try to answer them. Other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.